What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is from March 4th, 2024. It's 4:04 in the afternoon. Market is closed. Quite truthfully, we called it a half day today. Now, of course, because I left and decided to do that, the market then decided to move. However, today was a very, very odd day. Very low volume for the first half. Low volatility, just the market seemed broken today. So we're going to talk about the first half of the day and why I decided to call it half day today. Actually, it was voted upon by the people in our community. And quite frankly, it's because a lot of people were getting chewed up by a chart not worth trading. Okay, so our pre-market was in a relatively tight range until it started to trend down a little bit, which people had, been asking me, Jimmy, where's your call put scenario? I said, well, I wouldn't touch calls unless we got above 511.93. Okay. We actually opened above 511.93, which is right here because we were down below our first target low at open. In 511.93, we opened above that. It ran right up and it continued to go up. Now, here's what was interesting about the chart this morning. And this is why I struggled today myself. Now, I only took a single trade today. It was for all the right reasons except for one. Okay, so it was inherently a little bit more risky, but I want to explain why I took it because a lot of folks did take it as well. If you look back at the open this morning, Qs were selling off. Hold on one second. ADD was selling off. And at the time, NVIDIA was pushing up, but Qs were trending down. Today, and these are the things I look for. So I look for the Qs, okay? I look for ADD, and I look to NVIDIA or, usually NVIDIA. It used to be Apple, but NVIDIA to all be hopefully moving in the same direction. And at the time, during this whole move to the upside, that was not happening. I mean, most of the things besides NVIDIA was moving up or down, but top 10 was red except for NVIDIA. NVIDIA had a banger of a day today. It ended up closing. At one point, it was up almost 5% on the day. It's out of control. But even after NVIDIA started to trend down, which was around 945, SPY wasn't coming down. I couldn't wrap my head around what the hell was going on, to be completely clear. And the reason for that is because I trade the same reasons every day. I want to see Qs, ADD, NVIDIA, and SPY all moving in the same direction. That's like the A+ setup for me. And I had that by the time we were getting into our trade up here, except for SPY. Okay, so I got into my trade up here while we were wedging up, and I had told everybody, guys, this is a risky trade mainly because SPY is moving up, but everything else at the time that matters to me is moving down. I said, I trade that every single day to the downside. I've got to believe SPY has got to breathe a little bit to the downside. Now, I did say, if you're interested in this trade, we do have 10 o'clock coming up. Be careful. You might want to wait for this uptrend line to be breached or closed below. Okay, so the reason it's here is for that reason. But we had a very strong resistance here. And everything else that we care about at the time was already moving down in the right direction. I had told everybody, if we get below that line, or our stop loss was a candle close above this blue line at 512.60, because I told everybody all the way here, if we close above 512.60, I expect us to run up to 512.84 into the 89 range. Okay, but I'd like to see a pullback to 512.13. So a lot of us got into the trade right up in here. Fortunately, we got down to our target. We got out of the trade, and that was it for me. I didn't take another trade because the market just felt disjointed from itself. And I didn't feel comfortable with that. And by this time, we had a bunch of people who had a put bias. We had a bunch of people who had already lost money in the market, even though we had crossed our call line, even, people buying puts this whole way up. Now, this, again, was a riskier trade simply because SPY was trending up. Nothing else was, but SPY was. So that's the only fault I had with that. I didn't feel comfortable in the trade. It took longer than I'd like it to get down to our 5, 12, 13 target, but it got there. We got out. That ranged anywhere, depending on when you got in, from a 15 to 25% win. Okay, now we bounced off that line. We moved up. First candle close above 512.60, ended up turning it into a break and retest, which gets us up to here. Now, at this point here, the reason there's a circle here, and I was suggesting people who were in this trade to please consider taking your profits. Why? Because at 1036, or 1037 rather, Qs were right up against the resistance, which they held for the rest of the day, if I'm not mistaken, almost the whole day. Okay, right here. And I believe at the same time, NVIDIA was up against resistance from their high day. Okay, so that is why, again, I was not in this trade. This was a slow moving too. These contracts were moving really slow, and it wasn't until you got up here that you got basically a 10 to 12% return on your money. Okay, this was a difficult day, and it stayed difficult until we finally broke out right here. And even then, I wouldn't have been in this trade. So I was gone by 12 o'clock. Today, we decided to call it a day at 12 o'clock. I left probably 12:05. We were hanging around on our pre-market high line. We hadn't yet broken above these two lines. Of course, after I leave, she does her thing. But still, guys, very slow movement, very tight range for the day. And then, of course, at the end of the day, we get to and through the stink line, the pink line, which, if I was in this trade for whatever reason, which I'm telling you I wouldn't have been, simply because there would have been nothing on the day prior to that would have had me comfortable enough to believe that this was going to happen. I can't see the future, and neither can you. So if you came back later in the day and you missed that and got mad at yourself or mad at somebody else, me, for recommending that you stop throwing your money away, why do you assume that you would have played this properly? Why on this day, with a pre-market or a top 10 that looked like this, why would you have assumed that this move was going to happen? You wouldn't. And it's easy. It's easy to blame yourself or blame somebody else or something else for how you missed the best trade of the day. Okay? Don't do that to yourself. Okay? If you saw a setup that was worth taking, awesome. But please don't fool yourself into believing that all of these moves that you missed, you would have played properly. You know how many people lost money today because of a put bias? And then this just crushed them? You know how many people were in calls up here, ignored the fact that we were struggling to move through this futures line, held on to it, and probably lost their ass as we sold off to our first target low or our pre-market low again? Guys, it happens every day. Don't beat yourselves up. If you walked away early because you saw a chart that looked like it was going to take your money instead of pay you, you've done nothing wrong. In fact, you protected your capital, and you should be proud of yourself. I wish today in our community we had more blue books, meaning no trades today. Okay, this one here felt uncomfortable. Felt uncomfortable for me, enough for me to walk away after that trade, meaning I didn't open my trading platform again to take another one. I felt like I had entered the arena or the octagon. I fought my fight. I was fortunate enough to walk out on the winning side of it. I'm not going back into the octagon. All right. That's just the way I look at the market. I didn't make a huge amount of money today. I made some money, enough money to be thankful for this chart to have allowed me to make. That was it. All right. Now, as we moved up, everything above this pink line is mathematical lines that I've drawn myself. Okay. Meaning there's no evidence of support and resistance up here because they don't exist. This is all-time highs. right? All-time highs. So I got nothing. So the line accuracy is going to drop when we get into these zones, right? But look at how accurate these lines were prior to. Guys, they bounced between them to a T all day long. Now, it's not helpful on a choppy day like this, especially when the market is disjointed like it was today. But hey, it is what it is, right? I don't ever trade this late in the day, so I wouldn't have made any additional money if I would have stayed here anyway. With that said, thankfully, we sold off into the close because now we have proven levels of support and resistance above us when we open tomorrow, unless we gap up overnight and we open up in this area, which I'm hoping is not the case because I'd much rather trade levels that are proven than levels that I have to calculate and find myself, okay? So with that said, I don't have much to share with you guys in this video today, other than I hope you didn't get your asses kicked in the market, because today was the kind of market that could have easily done it. Okay, we had some people that had great days. We had some people had their worst days. Okay, we had some people that were thankful for a much smaller amount than they would usually hope for, and that's all you can do, guys. That's all you can do. You can't beat yourself up for not being able to see the future, because I don't care who you are, nobody can. All right. With that, hope you guys found some valuable information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, there's a link down below. We'd love to have you. First 7 days are completely free. If you don't want to pay after 7 days, that's fine. You don't have to leave the community. You'll just lose the access that you had for those 7 days, which allows you to get into both of the trading rooms that we have in there. Okay. And that's pretty much it. So protect your money and come join us if you'd like to. Until tomorrow. I love you guys. See you.